Welcome to the TWBC Coffee Break podcast, bite-sized training for very busy women in business. Hi there and welcome to the Women's Business Club's Coffee Break podcast. I'm delighted that you could join us today. So we've got a special guest as usual on our call with us today, and that lady is Debbie Newman. Now, Debbie is a marketing expert. She runs her own marketing business called Armstrong Beach. But what Debbie's going to be talking to us about today is really about one form of marketing, and that is networking. And she's got some brilliant networking tips. So if you're an experienced networker who's looking for a brush up, then this is a good place for you. And of course, if you're new to networking, this is definitely a very good place for you. And Debbie's going to be running through, like I said, a few basic tips on how to improve your networking, how to get more results from it. You can visit Debbie's website. I'll give you the address here. It's Armstrong Beach. So that's Armstrong Beach, which is BEECH.co.uk, and you can find lots about Debbie there, and also you can find out a little bit about the women's business clubs on that site as well, because Debbie is our host at our Bath Premier Club. So if you're in the Bath area, then obviously you can also get the opportunity to meet with Debbie as well. So I'm going to stop waffling here and just give you the opportunity to listen to our interview. So hi there, Debbie, welcome to the call today.
Kelly, hi. Thanks for inviting me to join you.
No problem. That's a pleasure. Now, Debbie, I know that you're a deeply passionate networker, and so you've come on here today really just to bring a few fresh pointers for some people who are perhaps a little bit nervous about networking. Is that right?
Absolutely that.
Wonderful. Well, fire away, Debbie. Give us some pointers then.
Okay. Right. Networking. I put together an article and I called it Love It or Hate It, because I think on the whole people are divided into the two groups. Some of you are regular attendees, others aren't sure about it and go from time to time, and others absolutely hate it. I've always networked, or at least for the past sort of 7 or 8 years, and I passionately believe in its value. I used to work in the telecom sector, which was fiercely aggressive, and I established an office here in the southwest as an independent mobile dealer. And I gained at least a third of my business through networking. And more importantly, perhaps than that, was that the people that I got through networking actually stayed loyal to me. They didn't then switch to the next fantastic phone call they had and disappeared. And that served me in good stead from then up until currently. But I would say before you start, you must make the time for good networking, effective networking, and that you will follow up from your meeting. It's no good going along and enjoying your lunch, breakfast, whatever it might be, and then just thinking, okay, done that, let's move on. So I've jotted down a few ideas and a few pointers to help you. Firstly, although networking doesn't cost a huge amount on the whole, it does take up quite a bit of your time, or it can do. So consider how many networking groups you want to join. The cost of the breakfast isn't huge, but you need to be selective and support perhaps 2 or 3 groups regularly. Get to know the people. That is, after all, what networking is all about. It's creating relationships. Groups are very different, both in terms of format and the type of people who attend. Some are weekly and very much into referrals, some very informal, and you just turn up and you chat and off you go again. And some in between, where you turn up, you chat, but you actually then have maybe 2 or 3 10-minute scheduled appointments with each other. Some require annual membership, others don't. You can normally attend 1 or 2 events of the groups requiring a membership to get a feel for if that's right for you before you join. So I would suggest you do that. And then you come away and decide, okay, I'm going to join these and these, but not those. If you get a chance to see the delegate list ahead, take advantage of that and see who would be great to talk to. Check them out on your LinkedIn or on Google or any means that you can to find a bit of information about them. Or you might have another person from that company on your contact list in your Outlook in any case. If the list isn't sent out ahead, try and take a quick look at it on arrival. There's quite often a list put on your place on your table, or at the very least, the people signing you in will have a list. If there isn't any other copy, just say, could you just check and see if somebody's booked in, and they normally let you have a quick look. Spot straight away if there's anybody you really want to make contact with. is nothing more annoying than having been at a do, not realising that there was XYZ company person there and actually having missed them. You also want to think about your goal of what you want to achieve from this networking meeting. Is it a number of conversations with people? Are you wanting to learn about the topic being discussed? Or are you wanting to make an appointment so you can follow up? If you find networking a bit daunting, get there early or exactly on time. Bring plenty of business cards which are easily accessible, not in the bottom of your handbag that you can't find. Ideally, I try and remember to put on a jacket with 2 pockets, so I have my own cards in one and I receive other people's and put them in the other. When you walk into a room that's nearly empty, it's much easier to feel comfortable and chat to the few people who are there. If, on the other hand, you're walking into a room with sort of 70 or 100 people or 20 even, it can be quite daunting and you just think, oh my God, what am I doing here? Be approachable and talk to people. Smile and just be relaxed. And listen to what they have to say and ask them questions and be interested. However, if that person then tells you their life story and you're still there 10 minutes later, do make a polite break and move on. After all, this is your time and your morning. Practice your 60-second summary, your elevator pitch before, and make sure that it's appropriate for the business and the meeting that you're going for. Typically something along the lines of, I work with, who have a problem with, what we do is, so that, which means. And if you jot down those sort of headers, it'll help you put in your own answers to that. Show how you solve problems rather than list features. Remember, you're not that interesting and we don't have that many really tall buildings for our elevator pitch. Mine typically would be, I work with ambitious business owners who recognise that they need professional support with their marketing. After reviewing the current situation, seeing what has worked and what hasn't, and understanding a little of the aims of the business, we then agree a plan of action so that the business owner can concentrate on running his or her business, knowing that the marketing is in safe, proactive hands to grow it. That's the sort of thing, and I adjust it depending on who I'm talking to and, as I say, the situation. Think about your body language and try to adopt an open and approachable posture to attract others to talk to you. Don't walk around with arms crossed, no matter how tired you are, and never ever prejudge who you're talking to. You know, you never know who they know that you're desperate to know, if that makes sense, and who they're going to meet tomorrow that might be just the right person for you. If you've come with a work colleague, don't spend the time catching up with the company gossip. Split up and talk to different people. And please don't sit on the same table next to each other. The same actually goes for friends too, even though you haven't seen them for ages. Do use the opportunity to catch up elsewhere and have a coffee after the session. It can also be quite rude if you are catching up on company gossip to ignore the people either side of you. I had that last week and I came away thinking, God, that wasn't the right thing, and it doesn't do their business any favours at all.
It's quite annoying, isn't it, when that happens?
Really annoying.
Yeah.
And actually, I did tell them that I knew their boss and they still carried on. So I was tempted to say something, but I didn't. I just thought, oh, hey, life's too short. Okay, it's much better to have had a good chat with a few people than, a couple of seconds with lots, because that won't have got a good impression of either of you and you won't have remembered each other's business. Be passionate about your business and avoid the use of the answer fine. How's your business? Fine. Great. That's sort of like a stop and end of the conversation. How's your business? Fantastic. And carry on with that really passionate voice. Okay, it may not be completely true every time you say that, but people don't want to know that you're actually not very happy with the way business is going at the moment. And remember the other old adage, 2 ears and 1 mouth, and use them in that proportion. If you're at a do which has a question and answer session at the end of it, do announce yourself and say that your name is Debbie Newman from Armstrong Beach Marketing, and use that opportunity to announce yourself before you ask the question. Another little trick I do is that if it's a seated event, I try and annotate any cards that I've taken with a bit about the person, something they're wearing, something that would serve me as a memory jog for when I'm back in the office and about to follow up. And I also put the date on every one of my business cards. It really is so useful doing that. You'll get out of networking really what you're prepared to put in, but you need to work at it. You need to work at the relationships and build the trust. Building up a network can become one of your best marketing strengths, and can really, really help generate regular referrals.
Debbie, couple of brilliant tips there. I have to say, the jacket with 2 pockets, it's a really simple thing, but I don't know how many times I've been to events with no pockets and rummaging around in my bag to find...
We'll do it.
Yeah, and always I end up giving a business card that's got chocolate smeared on it because that's what's at the bottom of my bag inevitably. And the other really good one here that very rarely gets spoken about actually is to think about your body language when you're networking. And I don't think we very rarely get told to think about body language, but it's very true, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, people with folded arms and looking all crunched up, they don't look very approachable.
Correct. And also that if they look petrified, people will hesitate to contact them too, because I think, oh my goodness, they can misread the frightened look for all sorts of other things.
The thing I always find that when you talk about people that have the frightened look, the one that I always sort of kind of inwardly laugh at, but I think I do it myself, is when you go to a big networking event and they give you the delegate list, is you walk in the door and you look at the room and you think, oh, that's quite scary. And so you start busying yourself. And the first thing you busy yourself with is heading off towards the tea and coffee. Then you busy yourself with working out where to put your coat. And then you've run out of options. So you busy yourself reading that list again and again and again, and because it's in your head, it's better to be standing there looking at a list than it is to be standing there looking like Norman No Mates.
Yep.
And I've done that so many times.
You surprise me.
No, and now I go to events and I see people standing around the edge of the room staring at the list with an intensity that it really doesn't deserve. And I think, do you know what? I feel really sorry for you. And I'm trying now to go up to those guys and make the effort, because I always figure that they're probably just as scared as me. So that makes them easier to talk to.
Absolutely, and that's why I say go early, because then you're walking into a room with maybe 6 people or 3 people, and it's manageable. If you walk into a room of 60 people, then it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Such a good idea. It's much easier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Debbie, thank you so much for them. That's been absolutely brilliant, and thank you so much for taking your time out today.
My pleasure.
So there you go. There were some brilliant networking tips there from Debbie Newman at Armstrong Beach Marketing. And I hope you really found that useful and picked up a few things that you'll be able to use in the future to really get the most out of your networking. So we'll be back with another Coffee Break podcast in a few weeks' time. But in the meantime, if there is anything at all that we can help you with, please do call the office. And we look forward to working with you very soon.